This could be a potentially historic day in the SSL. Matchday 21 of 22, and Sao Paulo could potentially clinch the title today, at least on this match day, if other results go in their favor. One of which needs to be Reykjavik potentially dropping points to Catalunya. It's going to be a very interesting time seeing whether that happens. They will be our final match of this first part, but we have a couple other matches to get to before that. Hello, everyone. I am Metafiction, and as I say, a very exciting day here in the Major League. Certainly a lot of anticipation built up around this day. Sao Paulo, of course, as we said, looking to put themselves out of reach of their title opponents, Reykjavik and Hollywood. It's going to be very nervy down there in Barcelona and then, of course, in Brazil. As you see there, the standings, Sao Paulo with a 4-point lead over Reykjavik, 5 over Hollywood. Both Sao Paulo and Hollywood in action in the second part of today's match day. But to kick things off in the first part, it is Schwarzwälder versus Shanghai Dragons. Neither of these teams really in title contention for most of the way. This is mostly for pride at this point, but pride can be a very powerful motivator. Bierman. Clark. Dribbling through the center. The shot had a lot of it scrubbed off there by Bob. Corner now. Skovgaard to take. Sent away, but still with Jihao. Jihao squares it, and well scooped up by Takechi. SFD trying to build again. Here's Skovgaard dribbling around Jimathias. Bit of a slow rolling pass to Clark in the center, but it's off the crossbar from the shot. You have to question how that pass was allowed to get to Schmidt in the first place, but a very near miss there for SFV, and Jihao heads it over. Now it's Shanghai's turn to come forward. Johnson under pressure, tries to pass it back to DeSoto, I believe, but that's Suzuki who intercepts, makes the run, and Millwall makes a hash of it. Forrest with a bit of a commanding start to this game, but we know Shanghai have a tendency to turn it on out of nowhere. Now Schmidt, though, coming forward, and that's clanged off the post. And that's 2 hits to the woodwork for SFV in the opening 15 minutes. Voda trying to pass it forward. Habjanic got ahead to it, but not enough of an angle to redirect to Hohenheim. Realistically, SFV will feel they should be 2-0 up with those 2 hits on the woodwork. There's a strike, and that one just misses, courtesy of a block. So they'll get another chance from the corner. Here's Skovgaard, near post. It's headed up. Falls to Maxwell, and then Jihao takes the shot, but it's pinged off of a couple of defenders. Ball worked back out to Skovgaard, but Jimathias deals with it professionally. This SFV side, accustomed to being in the upper echelons of the league, this season not so much, losing touch with the title contenders a little earlier than they're accustomed to. Have some serious questions to answer in the off-season, but right now they're trying to score and have won themselves another corner. That one headed away by Jimathias, Jihao going to collect. Strong challenge there from Hohenheim, frees it up and gets a little bit of the pressure relieved. Shanghai now sending the corner out to the edge of the area, and Habjanic sending that over. Nearing halftime, Schwarzwalder have had a couple of very close chances, but neither of them rippling the net. And Shanghai starting to come alive a little bit as they come forward here. It's Johnson laying off to Gimathias. 1-2 with Bob leads Gimathias running to the center, and Del Vecchio forces a save out of William Williams. Billy Bob now with the corner. And Hohenheim's chance floats over. It was a well-delivered set piece, but the finish questionable. Habjanic brings it under control again for Shanghai. Habjanic again. Squares it, and Hohenheim from point-blank range puts Shanghai up 1-0 on Schwarzwalder. It's a great motion up that right side of the pitch for Shanghai. Del Vecchio finding the advanced player who squares it in to Hohenheim, and from that distance, it's almost impossible to miss. And now SFV find themselves down in a bit of a hole here. A shot from Suzuki, blocked at the point of exit, and it's another corner kick. As we enter added time here in the first half, Schwarzwalder could have easily been up by a couple of goals, but instead find themselves trailing in this one in surprising fashion, it has to be said. Still, credit to Shanghai. It was a bit of a slow start for them, but they've gone into the half with a 1-0 lead and an XG advantage. Granted, largely due to that goal, but nevertheless, a strong performance by both sides. Should be a fascinating second 45 minutes. And remember, a little bit later in this first part, it will be Catalunya hosting Reykjavik United. Reykjavik need a win in order to stay in touch with Sao Paulo, but Catalunya resurgent this season with a very strong performance. They could be a wild card in this entire scenario. Keep an eye on that match for sure. Meanwhile, we have begun the second half here. And it's a corner for Schwarzwalder that nearly resulted in a chance, but Millwall putting it over again. Black Forest looking to try and even this gap. Schmidt to Millwall, under pressure from Gimathias. Cut forward for Schmidt, who is tipped behind by Takechi. They've certainly had the bulk of the chances, but unable to make them count. As Voda heading that one clear. Sinclair sprays it out wide for Hakkinen, who volleys it into the middle. It looked like it was going to Jihao, but it's Clara Schmidt who puts it away. And that was a clever move by SFV to level the deficit. Here it is again, Hakkinen with a great volley. Wayne Jihao leaps up for it as if to head it, but instead lets it run to Schmidt. And the keeper and the defense completely fooled. And we are 1-1. And that shot from outside the box by Sinclair tipped behind, and SFV with a chance to go ahead early in this second half. Skavgard delivers near post, but it's headed away. Jihao takes a long shot, but that one goes well wide. Now it's Shanghai's turn to answer. Billy Bob. It's punched clear, but ultimately finds its way back to I'm Just Ken, and Billy Bob ruled offside. SFV once again taking control of this match, but Shanghai not going away, as you can see, coming forward. Here's Del Vecchio trying to get around Schmidt, and that one blocked and sent away. Now Jihao. Skavgard. Millwall with the long pass forward. SFV taking a moment to get their numbers forward, but ultimately coming to nothing there. Owen Hahn, swarmed by white shirts, nearly loses out, but Johnson able to mop up. Now Hohenhan makes the run, and it's tipped wide. That had some real pace on it. And it does win a corner. Now Habjanic. And Bob can't get to that one. Hakkinen. Sinclair through ball to Wang Jihao. And SFV have put themselves in the lead, 2-1. Well, that passing lane just opened up perfectly for Sinclair. Johnson couldn't quite get over to cut it off in time. And given that chance, Jihao just buries it in the net. Vecchio's charge neutered, and now here comes Clark on the counter for SFV. Schwarzwalder trying to get some players ahead. Schmidt dribbles into the box and shoots over the bar. They know that this lead isn't safe. Shanghai still possess the ability to turn this around. Millwall gets around Johnson, but fires wide. Schwarzwalder trying to keep the ball in Shanghai's defensive third, because they know that if the Dragons can come forward, they have the talent to finish and level this game again. Here's Skavgard, and that skims into the hands of Takechi. Long ball forward. Headed down, and that was Voda who was brought down there. Apologies, I believe I'm being told it was offside. Hohenhan flagged there. It looked like Voda had been fouled there by SFV, but not the case. Three minutes of added time in progress as SFV bringing it forward again. They've killed this match off well, and here comes Suzuki, but that shot not really on target. Uvalde Jihao trying to get to the end line and does. Floats the cross in, but Johnson heads it away, and that is the final whistle. Schwarzwalder going down in the early stages, or in the late stages, of the first half, but ultimately in the second half able to overturn the deficit and come out with the 3 points. 2-1, the final score. Solid team performance by Schwarzwalder, of course. Some very strong performances there. Jihao and Schmidt doing the damage. But it is Vito Habjanic for Shanghai who is the player of the match. with the assist to Thomas Hohenhan on the goal at point-blank range that initially put the Dragons ahead. A strong effort by Shanghai, but ultimately not enough to stop Forest, who win 2-1. Next up, we move to our second match on the docket for this first part of the match day. Tokyo SC trying to reverse their very rough season, trying to get at least something to be proud of against Jelayu Cosmico, a team that has done fairly well in its first season here in the SSL Majors. Certainly not pulling up any stumps, but certainly not out of place either in this top division. Tokyo with that 4-3-3, a very central 4-3-3, and Jelayu Cosmico with the 4-2-3-1. Then you see Tokyo next to last, only saved from the bottom of the table by Celtic, pretty much taking the wooden spoon and running with it in their inaugural season. Still, not the end of the table Tokyo are accustomed to finding themselves at. They could potentially climb a few spots if they were able to win this match, but of late that's been easier said than done. Ekholm Gunnarsson, Dalo over the top. It's headed back out, but Tokyo's still on the attack here. Ekholm Gunnarsson trying to venture out to the wing. Emerson under pressure. Ron Flex goes down in the box, and the referee has given a penalty here. Vizio's coming on to look at Ron Flex as the referee checks VAR, looking at the monitor to make sure whether that was a penalty or not. And it's overturned. The penalty is not given. Well, that is a surprise. It looked with Ron Flex being injured there was something in the contact, but VAR and the referee deciding against it. And Puma Super Hoops just losing the ball there for a second. Does break a little bit of the momentum, but Tokyo still come forward. The shot from Ibrahimovic goes wide. Anders rolling it out to Eilish. And Chambers losing out there. Kuniki finding Yun. A bit of a scramble here in front of the Tokyo goal. Walker squares it, and Jia Yun. Well, you know what they say about biting the hand that feeds you, but I don't believe Jia Yun has any particular care for that sort of consequence, as they've just scored against the team they played for last season. Not for the first time, if memory serves. Expansion draft can be a very cruel mistress indeed. And Tokyo, with one of the players they lost in that expansion draft, coming back and scoring a goal against them. Some passing around in the center. Now Ekholm Gunnarsson out to Greer. Ron Flex. Now Chambers to the other side with Super Hoops, who's trying to get around that fullback, but Anthony Lee streaking into the box, blasts it into the net, and we are all square. Let's take a look again to see where Lee came from on that. Making that run alongside Ibrahimovic there. What a move that was. And is indeed just onside. A well-delivered cross from Super Hoops. And Lee charging in. And Day Walker for Jelayu is forced off with an injury. That is not going to help them going forward. It might be the break Tokyo needed. There in goal, another player that Tokyo lost in the expansion process, Fernand Rivest, the former goalkeeper, sending that ball long, but it is back with Tokyo. Lee. Through ball to Ibrahimovic, who fires it right at his former teammate. Tokyo have been very much up for this. Still 1-1, but they have been showing signs of life. For the moment, though, Cosmico coming forward. Cross goes into the box. And that's shot by Emerson into the side netting. Forced there by Adamu, and it is a corner. Super Sub puts the ball into the box, and Kander is able to hold on to it. And so at the half, Tokyo and Cosmico all square at 1 goal apiece. Tokyo have had the better of the XG and the chances, but Cosmico certainly making up for their lack of XG with some very well-placed defensive work. It's a very even matchup so far, and you get the sense that a decisive moment is still to come in this second half. Tokyo kicking us off, going right to left in the pink and black as Super Hoops streaking down that right wing. Gets to the end line, puts the cross in. And these fullbacks do like to try and cross into Ibrahimovic. That time forces a corner, and Greer will be the one to take. With Din and Rivest claiming it. And then nearly able to bring it in, but now Tokyo come forward again. Here's Lee. Delo. And Line cuts it back. Super Hoops takes the shot. It's off the frame of the goal, and Lee puts it back. Well, once again, Anthony Lee in exactly the right spot at exactly the right time to put the ball in the net. Super Hoops came very close, had a great opportunity, just claimed it off the upright, but Lee able to put the rebound past the keeper, and now Tokyo find themselves up 2-1. Lee to Greer. Ekholm Gunnarsson. Super Hoops trying to take it around to Thiel. Cross goes in, and that's headed right at Rivest once again by Ibrahimovic. But some very solid attacking movement by the Yokai. And ball in from Super Hoops falls to Ekholm Gunnarsson, but the shot not quite there. Super Hoops bringing it forward again and wins another corner. Greer once again to take. Sends it into the center. It's headed up and headed away. Super Hoops trying to get around Panda and almost does. Into Ron Flex, who loses out. Now Cosmico passing it amongst themselves at the back. Ibrahimovic is lurking, a bit of a dangerous proposition, but they managed to get it clear of danger. At like 2%, Lee chases down and forces the ball free to Greer. Some good defensive work there. And now here is Super Hoops. Cutting inside, passing forward, and Ibrahimovic missing by not a wide margin. Less than 20 minutes to play, and Tokyo do lead. Cosmico forward to Yun. Trying to get around Greer, and does, and Canders with a really good save. Not often you see Greer left out to dry like that. Some very good movement by Yun. And it's a Cosmico corner as that goes in far post, headed out by Beakley Eilish. Panda with the cross back in, and Adamu heading it away. Greer takes the touch and gets it out of danger. Just over 10 minutes, a little less than, well, right at 11 minutes now to play. And Tokyo with that 1-goal lead. They'll have to hang on, but they do look like they've created a decent number of chances, as that's another corner off of that shot from Delo. Certainly in the driver's seat as things stand, but we know how quickly matches can swing here in the SSL. That corner goes into the hands of Revest. Headed forward by Greer, but it's only at like 2%, who's coming forward for Cosmico now. Into the center. And the referee's given a penalty here. Kunicki goes down in the box. I couldn't tell whether it was a strong challenge or not, but this time the VAR does give the penalty. Eilish booked for that challenge as Blackman stands on the spot to level it. And it clangs off of both posts, past Canders, and into the net. And Cosmico have leveled it with less than 10 to play. Well, Canders guesses the right way, but Blackman tucking it in exactly the perfect angle to get it past the keeper and into the net. Tokyo will feel hard done by, of course, but that's soccer for you. And so in added time, we are drawing 2-2. 4 minutes of added time have come and gone. Cosmico perhaps with the last chance, crosses in by Emerson. Headed away. Panda back. And to Thiel from the edge of the box! Are you kidding? Tell me that did not just happen. Cosmico with an absolutely sensational winner from Dres to Thiel. Right on the edge of the box, a laser past Canders after the 4 minutes of added time expended. Talk about leaving it late. Cosmico, less than 10 minutes to play in the match. We're losing, and they've come away somehow, some way, with the 3 points. Words cannot do it justice. It's a phenomenal performance there in the closing stages by Cosmico to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And what can you say about Tokyo having been up in XG and then on the scoreboard for so long? 2 goals from Anthony Lee might have clinched it any other day, but Dres to Thiel with a wonder goal to absolutely snatch this one. Goals also, of course, from Blackman and Yun and Cosmico. 3-2, your winner in Tokyo. How about that? Well, I don't know how you're supposed to follow that, Catalonia and Reykjavik. You've got a bit of a job on, but nevertheless, this should be absolutely fascinating, as this one does in fact have title implications. Reykjavik need to win this match in order to stay in the title hunt. If they lose, then all eyes will be on both Hollywood and especially Sao Paulo, who can lock up the title on the second to last match day in part 2 simply by winning. That'll come later, of course. Right now, Reykjavik have a job to do, and it is not going to be an easy job, as CF Catalonia, you can see there in 7th, have been absolutely solid this season. Certainly not in title contention, but compared to seasons past, they have really started to catch fire. They'll be one to watch going forward. Today, though, their job is to play spoiler for Reykjavik United. Whether they can do it remains to be seen. But here is Bamford on the attack early for Catalonia. It's ricocheted out to Valstrazen-Smith, and Wall able to parry that. Still coming forward, RL Segadors. And that time, Reykjavik able to get it back up the pitch. Fry with the corner kick here for Catalonia, who have taken a bit of the front foot here. It's headed out, but Quartista able to get onto it. To the other end, it's Fry who chips it a little too high there. Remember, Reykjavik 4 points back of Sao Paulo. Anything but a win will really put them in a very dangerous situation. Even if they do win, Sao Paulo would then need to drop points. But here comes Barr, and that one blocked behind. Fry out to Barr, and Nang Marinho with the sliding challenge in the box. Fry. And that one ricochets in. It's Bernardo Fry. Well, I mentioned at the start that Catalonia could very much be wild cards in this entire title situation. And living up to that billing, Fry, while able to get a finger on it, but Fry just too powerful on the shot to be stopped. And Catalonia taking a 1-0 lead. Well, how will Reykjavik respond to that? They need a win in order to even have a chance at a title. Tentacles plays it off of Benito, and that shot was right at Twinkle Toes, but was offside regardless. Maldonado takes it around and from the edge of the area. Absolute bullet past Twinkle Toes to level the game up at 1-1. Well, this is a brilliant individual piece of play here. Maldonado taking the dribble from the edge into the center and plays it off the upright and in. And Reykjavik find themselves back on level footing just before the half. Fry to the far post, and that's headed out. And nothing doing, but it is the half, and it's a very enthralling game here in Camp de la Industria, as Catalonia taking that early lead 1-0, but Reykjavik able to level the score 1-1 at the half, and Sao Paulo and Hollywood will be watching this with great interest. Well, at the half, it is going to be very important what these managers say to their sides, as Varnson making their way onto the pitch to replace Jogo Bonito. Meanwhile, Reykjavik opting for no subs, despite Del Pirlo having picked up a knock. It's a very serious moment for one of Reykjavik's most prominent scorers, one of their biggest attacking threats. With him hobbled, that could be a very big deal in this crucial match. Tentacles with the corner kick. Tried to aim for Del Pirlo, but the Catalonia defense able to get to it. Still coming forward, Reykjavik, but that one intercepted as Quartista putting that well upfield. Barnson trying to make immediate impact, but instead nearly gives the ball away there. Shaheen heading it forward, but nobody. But does intercept the pass from Kamanova, and Rashford missing the header. Well, that would have been an absolute dagger if that had gone in, but Rashford, usually very clinical, getting the finish wrong. Strazen Smith. And now Detrella. Patient build-up from Catalonia. Kruskin nearly getting the ball, but losing out, and squared to Quartista, and that's tipped behind by Wall. Fry, and that's claimed by Wall. 30 minutes to play in Reykjavik. Still looking for that go-ahead goal. They cannot afford to concede again under any circumstances. As Urkel sends in the free kick, it finds its way through to Gerard. And the shot from distance from Shaheen. It took Twinkle Toes at full stretch to keep that out. Tentacles will send in the corner. And once again, Twinkle Toes holds on to it. Coming down to the wire here. Reykjavik continuing to pressure. Here's Neymarinho, and that shot blocked. Tentacles. Cross goes in. It's headed right at Twinkle Toes. Now here come Catalonia. Bamford hits it forward, finding Barr, and Barr shoots it just over. And how momentous would that have been? Nearing the end of the match. 5 minutes to go now. Both teams still tied up at 1-1. And here's the corner. Fry. Played back by Vargson. Ball in. And it's Nikolai Ahmed! They may call that the shot heard round the world, because that shot might have just ended this title race. Catalonia have to hold on just a little longer to get a famous victory here. And for Reykjavik, it's worst case scenario. Pass back, and the shot by Shaheen goes over again. 4 minutes of added time. 4 minutes perhaps for Reykjavik's title challenge. Quartista. Fry trying to make a third. It's deflected behind, but this is more time off the clock for Reykjavik. I can imagine Catalonia in no hurry to take this set piece. To the edge of the box, Varnson back in again to Fry, and that shot from Barr deflected behind. And it's another corner kick that Reykjavik can ill afford to concede at this stage. And that one Sent in by Fry, and Wall has to get this down the field, but it's looking like there won't be enough time. Perhaps one last attack. Here is Urkel. Del Pirlo. Maldonado already scored in this match, but that one into the stands. That's nowhere near where it needs to be. And that is it. And Barcelona may very well be Reykjavik's Waterloo. A 2-1 victory for CF Catalonia might have put the title out of reach of the Aurora. An absolutely astonishing result, and the product of some excellent work by Catalonia. Bernardo Fry with a goal and assist, the player of the match. Nicolai Ahmed scoring the winner that might have just given Sao Paulo the SSL title for season 22. It was a hard-fought performance by Reykjavik, but in the end, just unable to take the lead and hold it. And they cannot catch Sao Paulo now. We'll take a look at the standings and the scores here in just a moment. But that was such a crucial match. And there you see over to the right, Reykjavik now 4 points behind Sao Paulo, who have the game in hand that will be played in the second part of this match day. And they cannot do anything about this. It is down to Hollywood now. Meanwhile, as for the results, Schwarzwälder with a 2-1 win, Tokyo losing it at the death to Cosmico 3-2. And then we just saw one of the most momentous matches of this season, Catalonia with the 2-1 victory over Reykjavik. And there you see some very juicy ties in the second half. Hollywood versus Buenos Aires, Tenochtitlan versus Celtic, and then Sao Paulo with the chance to confirm themselves as Major League champions, take on who else but AC Romana. What a match that's going to be. Well, we cannot wait to see you then. Until next time, this has been Metafiction. Take care.